That's what I wanted. I wanted to get the crowd going, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to show them like, hey, you guys mean something. When we play, you guys help us. Whether you think you really do or not, we can feel your energy. We can feel you guys when you cheer for us. We can feel it when we score those runs.
Hey kids, welcome to Fancast, a celebration of the Chicago Dogs Nation. I'm your host, chidogfool. Today, our guest is Ryan Lidge, catcher with the Chicago Dogs. Ryan's a great kid, and he shared so many fun stories about being on the team, and I can't wait for you all to hear him. He also gave us some special insight as to the many people that helped him along his journey. Stuff you got to hear. If you don't love this kid already, you sure will after this. Come on, let's go. Hey, dog fans, Fool here. Welcome to the show. Look who I'm hanging out with today. It's the Chicago Dogs catcher, Ryan Lidge. Ryan, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to it, and we're getting close to the season, so this gets me even more excited to get back to impact.
All right, well, I do want to talk dogs, but before we get into that, I want to get a couple leading questions. How did you fall in love with the game of baseball?
That would be my parents' fault, probably. But I know my parents raised me just do whatever I want to do, whatever I enjoy as a toddler. And I do have a twin brother, Dylan. He actually works for the New York Yankees right now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I've got an older brother, Michael, who works for the Philadelphia Phillies. My sister also played softball, and my cousin is Brad Lidge, and he won a World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies in 2008. So baseball family, it just naturally happened, and I didn't play any other sport, and the reason for that is probably because I wasn't very good at any other sport. Baseball, I just fell in love with it. I was good at it, and I want to play it as long as I can, so here I am.
Well, what drew you to the position of catcher?
That would be my mother. So I've asked her about that. I have asked my parents about that. And the story is when I was about 10, 11, I would play in the outfield because I had a good arm, or I would play first base because I could actually catch the ball. But my mom said when I was playing outfield, I would be picking daisies out there. So she told my father, you got to get him locked in the game. You got to get him focused. And I went behind catcher, and I could throw guys out. I could catch the ball, and it just kind of happened. And now playing it, there's way more obviously into it than just catching and throwing. And that's why I kept pursuing that position, because I love the leadership that it involves and being able to work with pitchers and everyone on the field. So yeah, it's my mom's fault for that too.
Okay, blame mom.
Yep.
All right, well, let's quickly go through you played collegiately at Notre Dame, and then you were drafted by the Yankees in 2017. So how did that feel? How did you guys celebrate?
I was drafted my senior year, and Notre Dame was awesome. I still keep in touch with my friends from school, whether they were my teammates on the baseball team or other fellow student athletes, or even just the regular students there. I still keep in touch with all those guys. So I really enjoyed my time at Notre Dame, but I knew it was coming to an end my senior year. And I've always wanted to be a professional baseball player. I've always wanted to play in the major leagues. So I was really had my fingers crossed and praying a lot about, I hope I just get the opportunity. I hope I get a shot. And so I was actually my parents just sold my childhood home, and we were getting our new house built. And so we're living in a townhouse in Vernon Hills, actually. And so I have no idea where I'm at. I didn't grow up in Vernon Hills. So it's a funny, because the only thing I remember from that house is the day of the draft. I was watching the first 15, 16 rounds, and my name wasn't getting called. And I turned my phone off, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to pay attention. And whatever I was doing, I don't remember, but I do remember all of a sudden I just got bombarded by 15, 20 texts. The first one being from my former Notre Dame teammate saying, "Oh my gosh, congratulations. You did it, man." And I'm like, what's going on here? Because I turned my brain off about it.
Wow.
And I go online and I look at the draft tracker, and my name is on there and it says Ryan Lidge, drafted 20th round, New York Yankees.
Wow.
I turn to my mom. It's just me and my mom sitting there. And I go, "Mom, I just got drafted." And she goes, "Oh my God." And she starts crying. My sister calls. I can't even comprehend what she's saying because she's bawling her eyes out, because they know how hard I worked to get to that point in my life. And my dad and my brothers and my friends ended up coming over. My grandparents came over. We celebrated it. But pop some champagne. But that night I get the phone call from the scout
Okay.
who drafted me, and he says, "Hey, make sure you shave that beard because the Yankees got a beard policy, and you're flying out tomorrow morning." And I was for Tampa, Florida, which is their spring training complex, and just kind of written right into that world of professional baseball. But that's a day I definitely won't forget.
So then while you're with them, and you said you kind of jumped right into the world, but now you're in the world of single A, double A, triple A, right? You play with I think the River Dogs and Tarpons and
Yep,
stuff.
yep, that's what I'm
So,
actually wearing right
oh,
now.
you are?
Charleston River Dog sweatshirt.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
So yeah, I mean, I went to Tampa and I ended up playing in 3 different levels my first year, which is only half the year of the minor league season,
Wow.
because you get drafted in the middle of June. So
Okay.
they've already been playing since April.
Interesting.
But from 2018 to 2019, my 2 full years with the Yankees, I played at every single level. So I played up to AAA for a week. I played a ton of games in Double A. I played a lot of high A baseball and low A baseball, which is the Charleston River Dogs are the low A team, which was the best at that point in time, the best stadium I played. When if you've never been to a Charleston River Dogs game, you fans, then you guys should check that out because that's a great time. But I went everywhere. I mean, I was a very, very well traveled man. A lot of plane flights, a lot of bus rides, just going from one team to the other. Just because with the Yankees, my reputation, I guess, was I could handle an older pitching staff. I'm 23, 24 at the time, so I can handle an older pitching staff. I'm mature enough to be able to handle all that travel. And once a guy gets hurt, which happens a lot as catchers, I would get sent to whatever level they needed me at. So I could be in Double A, but then all of a sudden they need a catcher, and I'm backing up in Double A. I'm not starting. They need a catcher in rookie ball, which is like 4 levels lower. Bang, there goes Ryan Lidge. He's going to rookie ball. So I was a very what kind of tabbed as an organizational catcher in that organization. And that was a great experience, but also frustrating at the same time. But I love my time with the Yankees. I met a lot of friends. 2 of my best friends, I met with them my first year, and I still talk to them to this day and hang out with them. So it was definitely an awesome experience to experience that professional baseball, and being in AAA, that one step away from the majors, is pretty cool too.
Yeah. That's the slog there, I guess. What were the Yankees? I'm guessing this is the case with all the players. It's not you're not really a pawn, but were they looking for something special out of you or particular to improve X, Y, Z, or is it just they didn't? You never fit in the plans for you to move up.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying with that question. To be completely transparent and honest, and you can look at my baseball reference page if you want to, which is all my stats throughout my career. When I was with the Yankees, I couldn't hit. That was pretty much it. I'm not hiding that from anyone. You look at my stats, and they weren't that great. Not much power. So eventually, when I did get released from the Yankees in 2020 during COVID, I had a big decision to make. I can either keep playing, or I can go pursue whatever career I wanted to pursue at that time. And I said, if I keep playing, what do I have to change in order to keep playing this game as long as I can? And it was my offense.
Right.
And I worked really, really hard at it. I have a lot of great people. That's actually where I'm at right now, sitting in the baseball facility that changed my career around with my coach, Steve Peterson. I owe a lot to that man. And but yeah, that's pretty much what happened with the Yankees. Is Ryan Lidge could catch, he could throw. He was mature enough to handle a lot of adversity, but when it came to offensively, they were definitely looking for more, and I realized that, and that's what I looked to focus on once I got released.
Well, that actually brings us right to our next section. We're going to talk dogs. So let's talk dogs. So you in 2020, you said it was COVID, and you jumped to the American Association because at the time, for a while, it was the only baseball being played, right? But the dog season started in July, and then you joined the team in August. You actually had a cup of coffee with the Winnipeg Goldeyes, right?
I did. That was.
Can you tell us the story of that and how you joined the American Association and then the dogs?
Yeah. That's, I guess, your trivia for the day is my first initial team in the American Association was the Winnipeg Goldeyes with Coach Rick Forney. Right. And it was interesting because that was during COVID, so the borders weren't open to go to Canada. So I never played in Winnipeg. We played in Fargo, and we had Fargo's away locker room.
Right.
But then, which is funny because what I hear from the guys during COVID, everything obviously you got to be super clean, making sure that you're social distancing, doing all the proper protocols. So any visiting team that went to Fargo, they didn't get to use that away locker room that we now use today because they had to lock it up because all of our stuff was in there. They had to use the batting cages,
Oh, no.
which is pretty amazing.
Wow.
But it's all fun. Like everyone talks about it. It's all like this just part of what was happening. You want to play baseball during that time, you had to make some sacrifices. That was it. But yeah, I got I was signed by Winnipeg, and I went there and was there for 2 days, and then lo and behold it, I get COVID. So I end up having to stay in a hotel in Fargo for about, I think it was like a 15 days was the quarantine protocol.
Wow, that's right.
So 2 weeks, whatever it was, it felt like a month, and not really being able to go outside, sitting in my hotel room, trying to stay ready for when I do get back. And my symptoms were fine. But I ended up testing positive for it, and I get back finally. I'm ready to play, and I meet with Coach Forney, and he goes, "How far away do you live from Chicago, from Rosemont?" And I go, "It's like in my backyard. I'm no more than 30, 40 minutes away." And he goes, "All right, well, Butch Hobson's looking for a catcher." And I did have some conversations with Butch before I got signed with Winnipeg.
Okay.
Butch Hobson's looking for a catcher, and I'm going to do you a huge favor here, and I'm going to trade you back home.
Wow.
And I gave him a big hug. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much that means to me. COVID was such a tough time, such a challenging time with a ton of adversity with not only getting COVID, but being ready for my family.
Sure.
I remember I was driving home, and I'm texting my family that I'm coming home, and I was just like on cloud nine. Like I never thought that I would be that happy to be just, again, completely honest, going from professional minor league baseball, being close to the big leagues, to now playing independent baseball. I never thought I would be that joyful to be going home. But that really painted a picture for me about what really is important to me, and that's family, and that's playing the game I love for the joy of it, for the fun of it. And that's what the dogs ended up bringing back to me. Not necessarily during that COVID year, but that 2021 year, my first full year with them. But I'll never forget that car ride home from Fargo to Chicago. That was a big moment in my life right there.
Before we leave that euphoria, the stats show that your first game was August 26th versus Milwaukee. Do you remember that first game as a dog, suiting up as a dog?
I think that was in Milwaukee. I don't remember if I got a hit, but I do remember whoever was throwing for Milwaukee, I did hit a ball like down the left field line, and I like almost hit it out.
Oh, wow.
And I remember being like, hey, like that was kind of cool. Like, but that's the main thing I took away. Honestly, I don't remember like connecting too well with the teammates just yet. First game,
Sure.
They're all a little bit like weary of me because I was the COVID kid, because no one on the dogs tested positive for the virus. They were doing a great job. Like Tris Zero and Sean and Butch and the coaching staff did a great job of making sure guys were healthy and staying with the protocols. And so I come there, and I'm the only guy who's had COVID on the team, and they're like, you know, like, are you
stay away,
sure you don't have it anymore? So, but after that, I think I played in a couple other games, and I actually ended up hitting a home run with maybe my first home game with the dogs, and my whole family was there, and they went, and my friends, and it was like pretty surreal and pretty awesome. So that was the sign. Now looking back on it, that was a sign about this is where I'm meant to be, and obviously it's been awesome since.
All right, well, let's get into it now. Yes, this is I want to do a gear talk. So in 2021, you embraced the powder blue, and you debuted your blue gear. You had your helmet, your chest pad protector, your shin guards, blue shoes, blue bat, everything baby blue. You look like Captain America, and I'm going to show a picture of that. Maybe you can see behind me here. You and your all blue gear was awesome. How did that come together?
It's my favorite color. The Chicago blue is my favorite color, and it's always been. initially when I was looking to play college baseball, I wanted to go play at North Carolina because of their colors.
Sure.
Now Carolina blue is just that little bit different from the Chicago blue. Okay, so don't get me wrong on that. But I just said, hey, if I'm going to play here, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to have some fun playing baseball in my hometown for a great organization. I'm going to get baby blue gear. I remember I was talking to my friends. I'm like, do I do it? They're like, I'm like, do I do it? They're like, why not? What do you got to lose? So I looked online, and it took me like a couple days to find some gear that actually was the correct color.
Wow.
Ordered it from some third-party site because it's All-Star brand catching gear, some third-party site.
Okay.
And the helmet came in all white.
Oh.
And so I get it. It comes in all white, and I knew that ordering it. And I said, I got to get someone to paint this. And so one of my really good friends, guy I train with, he works in an auto body shop.
Oh, okay.
So he paints cars. And so I said, hey, could you do something for me? His name's Jim Swarbrick. That's how you got the mask. Because I said, I want Chicago colors, get the flag on there.
Yep.
One thing that people don't really notice is I've got a green clover on it, a shamrock for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, representing my Irish heritage as well.
Nice.
So that's one thing people don't notice, but that's how it came to fruition. And so then I said, all right, I'll get a blue bat. A red and blue bat was actually a surprise from my hitting coach, Steve Peterson.
Oh.
He surprised me with it, and then it just kind of started to tumble into it, where the blue cleats, and the more blue bats and the gear and all that stuff. And I embrace it. I love it. I think I have fun when I put it on, and I know the fans love it too. So
absolutely, yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah. So last year wearing the red gear on Wednesdays was definitely interesting.
That was my next question. So now last year you went all red for the Wiener identity, really, and you only wear those on Wednesdays, then, right?
Yep.
Only Wednesday at home. So
yeah. Well, I was getting a little bit of a push away from Sam Brief.
Okay.
Our announcer, about how the yellow and the baby blue doesn't look good, which I said that's the Chicago Sky colors.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they've got the yellow and the blue, but you know, I ended up getting some gear that was red, and I got a lot of compliments from it. So I said, I'll keep that going because it makes the yellow look a little better. So
sure.
But it's definitely weird. I am used to seeing me in the highlights catching in blue gear. So it was definitely something to get used to.
Well, then just touching on the final point on the red gear, you also got a new bat, a mustard bat, or is it red, or is it hot dog?
Yes, that was also
color,
a surprise.
So tell me about that. That's your Homewood bat. Tell me how you got that.
Yeah, that was also a surprise from my hitting coach, Steve Peterson. Just in the middle of last year, he goes, hey, I got something for you. And I'm like, okay. And they took them a while to paint it, but it was a Homewood bat, and they were awesome with it from what I heard, because I didn't know anything about it. So I get it. I'm like, you can't actually expect me to use this in a game. Like, it's got mustard paint on it. Like, it's a hot dog with mustard. A lot of people think it's ketchup and mustard, but no, the red is the hot dog and the yellow paint was mustard. But I used it, and I mean, that thing has some pop in it. I ended up getting really fun with it. So when I eventually ended up breaking it, I was pretty upset, because I would use that even with the non-Wiener Wednesdays.
Okay.
And I ended up swinging it because it was just a great bat. I mean, it had juice in it. So, but yeah, that was a fun surprise that got my wheels turning in my brain about what I could possibly bring to the table this year.
All right. Well, let's talk about the All-Star game. And for you, like you mentioned earlier, you are a two-time All-Star for the Chicago Dogs, 21 and 22. You had two great seasons. And last year, 2022, because of the hiatus, the All-Star game was finally played in Impact Field at home. And the Home Run Derby looked like it was a blast. All you guys were hanging out, having so much fun. Can you kind of tell us about that night, about the All-Star, and then the All-Star game itself?
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was big-time props to our owner, Sean Hunter, for being able to throw that for us, for all the players, for the league. It was a blast. I mean, being there with a ton of the guys, with the Dogs, and it being at our home field, like it just felt really special. And the Derby was great, watching Grant hit homers. But you know, one thing about the league is you just connect really, really well with other players on each team, right? Because we're all in the same boat. We're all playing for the love of the game. We're playing for ourselves, but we're playing for our teams. And so, like, you just end up really, really connecting and having this chemistry with other guys in the league. Especially with me as catcher, where I've got to see these guys come to the plate all the time and, chit chat now and then during batting practice when I see them or when they're in the batting cages. But that was great to get to know more of the dudes on our side of the league. And then even the guys on the other side of the league, like we hung out the locker rooms, we merged the locker rooms real quick, and signing autographs for the fans was awesome. But the home run derby was cool. It was really awesome to watch. Cool to see those guys just hitting balls. There were some balls there that were hit over the scoreboard, the dog scoreboard.
Yeah.
And close to the parking garage, even possibly on top, if I remember right, from Keon Barnum.
Oh wow.
And Dogs fans remember him. So
for sure.
Yeah, and then the game was great. Great fans. It was an awesome game. Good drama. It didn't turn out the way that we hoped it would for our side. Really wanted to give Butch that win.
Right.
Especially with Casey hitting a homer. Like, that was great too. But at the end of the day, whether you win or lose that, the experience itself is rewarding, to be able to say, wow, like, I'm on the field with this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, and I'm put in the same category as this guy is very, very gratifying to see, humbling to see. And I just hope that it's for the fans, really. And I hope that the fans really enjoyed watching it. I know Sam Brief was announcing it. And then if you went to the game, I hope they enjoyed it too, because I know the locker room and the dugouts, it was a blast. So
that's amazing.
I really enjoyed it, and I hopefully can experience that again at some point.
All right, I'm going to talk about this. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, now I know that photo.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to show it visually. So there's a famous picture from last year of Ryan kind of almost in midair, in mid-flight. So I'm going to set this up real quick here, Ryan. This is my favorite Ryan Lidge moment. So it's Saturday, July 2nd, at home versus Milwaukee. It was Elvis night. Hey, Memo. And the dogs are trailing and 9-7 in the bottom of the ninth. I think Correll Prime had just hit a grand slam, if I remember correctly. You guys led the whole game, and then boom, the wind was let out of the sails. But you came up to plate to start off the ninth inning. You get a single, get the rally going, and pretty soon we've got bases loaded. And then Danny Mars comes up, bases loaded. Oh, the pressure's building, and he pops the single into right field, and you and Casey Hobson come home, and the game is tied now, and you started, it was like an out-of-body experience or something. You just started leaping and jumping and flying. You were pumping up the crowd. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen at a game, and the drama was just so neat. Can you please tell me about what you were feeling at that moment, and what you remember from that night?
Yeah, so that's also the coolest picture I've ever taken. So Correll Prime hit a grand slam, and we were up, and it's Milwaukee. Fans know when Milwaukee comes into town, there's a little bit different edge. You're a little more on the edge of your seat. You want to beat those guys. It's in my opinion, the best rivalry we have is the Dogs.
Okay.
Playing Kent County is always great, but there's something about Milwaukee that just, you got that, fighting side to
a little bit of extra. Yeah.
Exactly. So I honestly don't remember anything that happened until the ninth inning when Correll Prime the ball snuck out. The home run he hit, grand slam home run, just stuck out. And it was 2 outs, two strikes.
Wow.
And he was having this amazing at bat, and, catching it and seeing it happen is just like, But in my mind, when it happened, and I know you're not supposed to do this as a catcher, but in my mind, I said, I'm leading off this next inning.
Okay.
And I just took a quick look to the bullpen, and I saw the pitcher warming up, and I knew who he was. And so real quick, I just had an image of me finding a barrel, finding anything to just start off the inning or having a good at bat.
All in here.
That vibe real quick. Yeah. And then went back to catching, got out of the inning, get back in, and I'm all business. I get in the dugout when I'm leading off. I get in the dugout. I take my gear off. I get my helmet on. I get my gloves on, and I try to get out to that on deck circle before that pitcher can get to the mound.
Okay.
So I got my mustard bat, and I'm swinging it, and I'm taking my deep breaths. I get to the plate, and you can tell with me when I'm at the plate, I give a lot of this with my bat, where I point it at the pitcher, and that's me intensifying my brain. Pretty much saying, like, okay, you got to lock it in here, Ryan. Like, this is your at bat. You got no more today. This is it. So lock it in. Let's go. You can do this.
All right.
And so I get in a good count, and I'm looking for something up in the zone because the guy's got a pretty good a splitter, which drops down. Got a fastball up, found a barrel, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's go. Casey comes up. Casey hits a decent ball up the middle that the shortstop bobbles.
Right.
Now somebody else comes up. I'm sorry, I don't remember who that is.
I think it was Stevie. I think Stevie
Wilkerson. Okay, yeah.
Stevie
Stevie then hits a ball to the second baseman, bobbled again. So we got bases loaded, nobody out, I'm pretty sure. And then Danny comes up and he smokes the ball, and they end up holding us there. But when I crossed that plate, I knew Casey was right behind me, and I mean, I can't hold it. I'm an emotional dude. I try to play with a lot of emotion.
Sure.
Most of it is happy. But right there in that moment, it felt like a turning point in our season where we're about to just take off and be as good as we think we're going to be. And because right in the middle of July, and we always wanted to beat Milwaukee, So the fact that it was Milwaukee, the fact that we showed that we are a giant in the league, that we are here, we're not some fake team, we're legit.
Right.
And we end up doing that in the ninth after getting our, the wind knocked out of our sails. I just couldn't help myself. I just wanted, let's go, pumping the crowd up, jumping up. Yeah. That's what I wanted. I wanted to get the crowd going, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to show them, hey, you guys mean something. When we play, you guys help us. Whether you think you really do or not, we can feel your energy. We can feel you guys when you cheer for us. We can feel it when we score those runs. So me going like that is let everyone know how we just came back. We just tied this game. And I just couldn't help but jump up. I love the picture. Yeah. It's cool looking in the stands about all the reactions. But, that might be the highest I've jumped. It's not very high, but it could be. And even the guys on the team were like, dude, that's so sweet how fired up you were. And I love that picture. And then Michael Krause ended up getting a game-winning base hit.
Right. That's right.
Which was awesome. And it was one of my favorite games I've ever played in, for sure, ever in my life.
Awesome.
A lot of that's because the guys on the team, I love the dudes on that team. They're probably my number one team I've ever played on was last year, just in terms of relationships and friends. 21's right there with it too. Sure. But the guys on the team, the comeback, the win, I couldn't help myself. So
tell me what it's like to play for your teammates and the camaraderie you have with your teammates, and then also about Butch. How has Butch shaped your path here?
Yeah. So the beauty about the Chicago Dogs is, and Butch has a lot to do with this, is the clubhouse is not as in and out the door as minor league baseball, right? So in the minor leagues, you get guys getting called up, guys getting sent down almost on a daily basis sometimes. Wow. With the Dogs, you got these guys for pretty much almost the whole season. And especially with Butch, who's very, very loyal to his players and guys that he signs, you don't see a whole lot of moves being made. And you do. Moves are made. That's the part of the game. That's part of the business aspect. But Butch always finds guys that just mesh together. That's why he's a fantastic manager. That's why he's going to win as many games as he ends up winning in his career, which is going to be right in the top of all-time managers ever. I think he's going for 2,200 this upcoming year.
Wow.
And he's right there for it. So playing for those guys, playing for Butch has been very fulfilling. It's made me fall in love with the game again because I realized what I love the most about the game is my teammates.
Yeah.
The game is great itself. Hitting the baseball is fun. Throwing guys out as a catcher is fun. Winning games is fun. But being around those guys for 100 games over 100 days, you gotta like who you're with.
Right.
And when you love who you're with, now you have something real special. And that's what we've had myself. That's what I've had the last 2 years, is the honor of having some amazing teammates, some guys that I'll know for the rest of my life. And that's way more gratifying than, winning a championship's great. But for me personally, being able to form these relationships with these guys has been just a big time blessing my way. So, and then being able to play for Butch Hobson, my favorite manager I've ever played with. has also been a big blessing. And sometimes you're not sure what happens when you get released from a baseball club. When you get released from the Yankees,
Right.
Myself, I wasn't sure what was going to happen in my life, but
Mhm.
where I am now, if I knew what was going to happen, I would have been smiling ear to ear because I've just fallen in love with the game more than I ever thought I could. And a lot of that is because of my teammates, the fans, and playing for Butch. So it's been awesome.
So earlier this year, you played with, I think it was Puerto Rico, winter ball, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about that experience. Had you ever played internationally before?
That was my first experience playing what we call winter baseball, which
Okay.
is international, right? You can either play, you can play in Mexico, you can play in the Dominican Republic, you can play in
Mhm.
Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and some guys even go play to Australia, which I bet a lot of you fans saw TJ Bennett playing there. So I had an opportunity to go play in Puerto Rico right after Thanksgiving, and I had to jump all over it. Career-wise, I thought it was a move that I had to make, and it was interesting. I was a little scared to go down there. I'm alone. I've never really been out of the States before. So being alone out of the United States, playing with guys I've never really met with, I did take like 8 years of Spanish in school, but we all know how that works out.
Right.
So going down there, having to revamp my learning on Spanish was a big time transition. But I really enjoyed it. I played for a very young team down there called RA12, which is owned by Roberto Alomar,
Oh,
hence the
wow.
name RA12.
RA. Okay.
And that was great to hang around him a lot and pick his brain about baseball and
Wow.
pick all these guys' brains about baseball and playing
Sure.
against really, really good competition. A lot of big leaguers are playing in that league, a lot of top prospects, and a lot of guys who just want to play.
Mhm.
So it was a good experience. I'm glad I went. It was only for about 30 games or so a month and a couple weeks, but it was tough being away home from Christmas for sure. So there's a lot of sacrifices that you got to make when you play baseball.
Right.
But that's something, like I said, I thought I had to do, and I've always wanted to play winter ball, so I jumped all over the chance.
Do you have any other off-season routines? I obviously looks like you're at your workout place now. When does that start for you? You're keeping in shape or practicing for the off season? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so when I was in the minors with the Yankees, I would take maybe a month off, but since I've been with the Dogs, it's 2 days. I get the weekend, and then I'm right into it.
No kidding. Wow.
And that's the kind of work that I feel for myself, I have to put in. So I try to hit every single day in the off season. I'm going to take some days off, but I try to hit every day, mix in different routines, whether I'm working on hitting a breaking ball today or whether I'm working on bat speed or anything that I feel like I need to work on as a hitter.
Wow.
And then working on my speed, my agility, my strength, trying to make sure that I can endure those 100 games that I play throughout the year.
Yeah.
And there's always ways that you can get better as a hitter. Cal Ripken Jr., one of the greatest shortstops ever, every year he almost came in with a new batting stance, a new style, because he knew he had to make the adjustment. Because the league is always going to adjust to you. Can you make that adjustment to the league?
Right.
And so that's what I'm making sure that I'm doing here. And I'll give everyone a quick peek of what I'm staring at here. So those are my cages.
Oh, cool.
Right? And the weight room's down there. Actually, fellow Chicago Dog last year, Cody Bohannon is working out in the weight room right now.
Oh, nice.
But me and him have been hitting every day, almost every day throughout the offseason with another guy named Mickey McDonald, who plays for the Oakland Athletics right now. In their organization. But I'm doing baseball lessons. I'm running camps. And I'm just trying to enjoy myself as much as I can.
Sure.
But I'm working every single day to try to bring a championship to Chicago. So,
well, kind of speaking of the hitting, I know that you're, and again, I'm not a stats geek, but I know for sure over 21 and 22, your stats, improved vastly. I can't imagine seeing yourself improve and then still hearing nothing. What's behind that? I
try to hit a standard every single day, and I raise that standard day by day with whatever I'm doing. And that's all I have to worry about. If I start, because in reality, that's out of my control, really what other people think of me. And then if they think highly of me, if they think low of me, if they have room for me in their organization, those are things that I can't worry about because I can't control that. So, I would be lying if I said I wasn't frustrated about it. But I've got an amazing situation in Chicago. I get to play it in my home, not necessarily my hometown, but I get to play in my home city.
Right.
Where my family can come out and see me now, where my friends can come out and see me, and play at, honestly, there's really not many better minor league fields than Impact Field.
For sure.
The whole venue itself is like pretty much elite. So I have all that stuff to be very, very thankful for. And, not getting picked up, not getting signed by a team, like I said, it is frustrating. But I can't control what other people think. All I can do is go out there and play baseball the way Ryan Lidge can play baseball. And if somebody likes it, then fantastic. If not, I'm going to keep playing Chicago. And that's where I'm at right now. I do have workouts that I go to, and I do contact people about it. And there really isn't an exact answer that I can give. All I got to do is just keep playing, and hopefully one day somebody takes a shot at me. If not, then that's okay. And that's what's meant to be. So I just take it day by day and try not to worry about things I can't control.
Yeah, well, that's a great attitude to have. And you're right. Without being in your shoes, you got to realize it really isn't in your control. But well, we love you here. So right now we're glad you're here for sure. But I'd love to see you get up, go to the show, and like you said, your answer was perfect. So fingers crossed. I'm sure you're the type of guy who sets goals for yourself. I've even heard you talk about it on other podcasts and stuff. You set goals. Is there a particular set of goals for 23 that you're working on?
I think for me, one of the most important stats for hitters is RBIs. Okay. So I want to drive in more RBIs than I did last year. I just want to build upon things that I did last year and be better going into this year. So more RBIs, a better average, more home runs, more doubles, a better pitching staff ERA. As a catcher, I try to make sure that I can handle that. Be better defensively. Really build on everything. There's really not one thing in particular that I look at and I'm like, wow, I need to do way better at this. It's just I want to raise, kind of like I mentioned earlier, I want to raise that standard of excellence just a bit higher and then keep going from there and keep building, and trying to hit that standard every single day. And if I hit that standard every day, then I could go the next day and say, okay, now I just got to hit it again, it again. And I feel if I do that, then I'm going to be able to produce the results that I want. Right. I'm trying not to be too result oriented, but also understanding, hey, like this number would be great. And this amount of home runs would be great. And this amount of RBIs would be great. Yeah. But the number one thing, and it is cliche, but it really, really is at the front of my heart, is winning a championship for Chicago, for Butch, for the Dogs. I want to do that so bad. I really thought in 21 and last year that we were going to do it. Yep. And it still, is a little gut punch that I couldn't do it with those guys. Yeah. But that's really my number one goal. And if I do, for myself personally, if I feel like if I hit that standard consistently, then I give ourselves the best chance to win that championship. Right. So that's really what I'm going into this season saying is, we're going for this freaking thing. Awesome. I want it. I want that ring. I want that trophy. I want to win it at Impact. I want to see the fans going nuts.
Oh God!
And do it again the next year, and do it again and again and again and again. Right? Bring 100 of them.
But, I'm right there with you, kid.
Yeah, right. So, but really, just taking it day by day. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves towards the end of the year last year, but this year we're gonna take it day by day. Win today's game, and then we'll worry about tomorrow. Yeah. Then we'll worry about tomorrow after we win that one, and then win that one. So I couldn't be more excited to get started.
Do you think you will be a baseball lifer? So after your playing days, do you see yourself coaching or managing, or maybe scouting, development, office? Any plans for that, or not?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
100%. 100%.
Oh, really?
I'm a baseball lifer.
Okay.
I can't get away from it. It's what I love. I love the sport. I love the ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. I did say, I love my teammates. I love being part of a collective group that has a purpose. It's just very gratifying to me. because the cool thing about baseball is it's very much almost like a metaphor for life. There's so much failure that happens in baseball. If you know, if you're hitting 300 on the year, you had a great year, right?
Right.
But
Right.
you also failed 7 times
Yeah.
out of 10. If you have 10 at bats, you failed 7 times out of that 10 in order to hit 300. So if
Right.
I had 1,000 at bats and I got 300 hits, I'm hitting 300, and you're looking towards the Hall of Fame right there, right? But that's a
Right.
lot of that's 700 at bats where you're not doing well.
Right.
And so I love being able to help people pursue themselves through that, and being
Okay.
able to fight through adversity and say, hey, look how strong you are mentally, and look at what you can do, and look at what you can handle.
Right.
And as a catcher, I got to work on that with hitters and with pitchers. So naturally, I kind of have that pull to want to be a manager at some point, or
Mhm.
be in player development, or whatever kind of comes my way. But I will be in this game, hopefully like Butch. But I right now I'm playing the game as long as I can,
Sure.
until the game tells me that I'm done. But until that happens, Ryan Lidge is going to be hitting. He's going to be catching. He's going to be on the field for as long as he can.
Awesome. All right. So as I told you before, this show is for dog fans, all baseball fans, but we're gearing it towards our dog fans, the ones we know, obviously, but also hopefully new ones. So do you have any special message for current fans and maybe people who are dog curious? Let's say to come on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I never really had that great of relationships with former fans in professional ball. One big reason for that is because I traveled so much, and so now being in kind of a home, which is my home, which is again awesome,
Right.
and being able to build relationships with people like yourself, with people who sit right behind the dugout, right behind home plate, seeing you guys during fan day, seeing the season ticket holders, but also just seeing all the fans and all the autographs that the kids want.
Yep.
And seeing people, hey, I've seen that person before here, or even if it's this person first Dogs game, the appreciation that we have when people turn out as a team it's hard to put into words, because it's a beautiful stadium, but it's also got to get filled out. And I think we've been second in the league in attendance the last couple of years, and we're still a fairly new team. And so I just want to make sure I tell the fans that it does sound cliche, but the appreciation that the team has, that our manager has, that our owner has, but then myself, that I have, for when I see people out to the stadium consistently, or even if it's just a one day, it's thank you so much for coming. Thank you for cheering us on. I couldn't put on a uniform if you guys didn't show up. So I see it almost as, if you guys don't come, I might not be able to play. But you guys keep coming, and you come in droves, and you come consistently, and I'm able to talk to you guys and smile and enjoy the highs, get through the lows together. And you guys really do feel a part of the team a lot. And I want to make sure that I say that, because it is very real. It is very real to walk out of the locker room and see, there's this many people already, and the game hasn't even started. It's
Right.
awesome. And then being able to win and hearing the crowd behind me, it's always very, very gratifying. Again, and I've used that word a lot, but it's just the perspective that I have at this point in my career, playing at a bunch of different venues, playing in front of a bunch of different people. But Rosemont and Impact Field, there's just something very special for me there, that when I'm there, I feel like I'm at home.
Right.
And a lot of that is because of you fans. So I just wanted to say thank you to all you people watching, and you future Dogs fans. Come on out. We love you. We win when you're here. So, but thank you for supporting us and supporting the Dogs, and just being the best fans.
Well said, perfectly said. And that's the one thing I love about I guess this league and the Dogs in particular, is we get to see you guys every Sunday. You guys come out and do your signings and all that stuff, and maybe that's part of what's drawing me in as a fan. It's like, this would never happen in the bigs, and And it's like, you guys are so humble and so approachable, and it just adds to this love for the team, So that I just want to thank you then for all that you've done for us too. So I just love being a fan, and we all, that's the whole point of this show. We all love being fans.
Like I said, I can't do what I do without you guys. We don't have fans. We don't have the Chicago Dogs. So we owe everything to you guys.
You're welcome. I'll speak for everybody right now. All right, Ryan. Well, I could talk to you forever, buddy. I love it. And I wish I could. But if fans want to stay in contact with you other than coming to the game, so get out to see the Chicago Dogs for sure, follow them. How can they follow you, particularly online?
I'm actually doing something for the season of Lent where I'm not on social media as much. Okay. But you can find me on Instagram. I think it's rlidge, rlidge15. I don't know. I'm sorry. You can find me on Instagram. You can shoot me a message on there. You can find me on Facebook. I do not have a Twitter. I had to get off of that.
Oh, really?
For my own good. But go ahead and shoot me a message. I'll do my best. I do my best to try to respond to everyone. It's not like I'm getting 100 messages, but
sure.
Like I said, sometimes I try to stay away from all the social media, try to get a little more in person to person. Yep. But I do have a phone, obviously, so I am on there. But if you want to get in touch with me, go ahead, shoot me a text. I'll try to say hey, try to respond as quick as I can. And but the best way to see me is come watch us play at Impact.
All right, fans, you've got to take Ryan's advice. Get out to Impact Field. Come see the Chicago Dogs. Ryan, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it, and best of luck this season, buddy.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me. And to all you fans, I'll see you this season as well. Hey, Dogs fans, it's Ryan Lidge, your catcher. I follow the Fool, and you should too. Go ahead and find him on social media. Chidogfool. He's the best. He's the man. Go ahead and find him.